Okay, so I'm recapping it, thinking through recapitulation on Ukraine. So we have now the issue of us recruiting Banderites. So the nationalists under Stepan Bandera as a government in exile after World War II. They end up spreading throughout the British world and in America as well. So fundamentally what we would easily an easy summation would be Ukrainian Nazis end up here for about a generation. Supposedly they're a big help in the fight against communism. So that's how you end up with then this diaspora of Ukrainian nationalists and organizations that are governments in exile in multiple nations that are then courted by various politicians. And I did find one article that actually was specifically Biden, that Biden has had a relationship with this lobby. Now I'm thinking it's just like a lobby that they got settled in the areas that his part of the Democratic Party had to draw constituencies from, and that this was a constituency that they just ended up on their side. Democrats of that area ended up garnered a lot of support from the Ukrainian community. I just presume something like that, something that simple. So from there, the big thing is that the Maidan was something that was being openly, especially on Twitter, social media, supported by the Open Society Foundation. Later, the Open Society Foundation does admit that they had a lot to do with the Maidan, and the Open Society Foundation actually praises then the success of the Maidan in overthrowing the government. And so that's actually a real letter that they're praising them. From there, you also have then the quotes from the head of the Open Society Foundation, George Soros, that he admits with laughter how he was a part of the changeover of the government in the junta. Our government was widely supportive of the junta. So it's very likely that we also had something to do with it. And everything, all the leaks that ended up dropping from our Secretary of State and a lot of the Hillary Gate emails and her server, we ended up finding out, that we were trying to help this process as well. And so what this ends up as is us funding a organization called the Azov Battalion. The Azov Battalion being into the World War II fascist ideology of Stepan Bandera, and actually there's fantastic information in detail on Wikipedia and then also by Vice News talking about their neo-Nazi views and neo-Nazi kind of culture they were attempting to set up for their kind of youth brigades, and they had camps for youth brigades. Well, recently, since Biden was president, the Azov Battalion suddenly became active again and started becoming active in as much as they were starting to train civilians on how to deal with upcoming hostilities from Russia, and how to train in weapons, how to train in skirmish warfare and blocking off streets and things like that. Now, note that the political infrastructure and all the important people in politics in Ukraine are saying there's nothing really to worry about. There is no war coming. But the Azov Battalion, which seems to be some kind of special pets of the Open Society Foundation and our CIA and State Department, they're saying and doing what it takes to generate something like civil warfare. So, or to help with that process. So, this then brings up what Republicans are going to deal with the widely published information on all of this. That this is stuff published in Haaretz and Jerusalem Post. This is, there's all sorts of people from both the left and the right who are very concerned about this. Russia has lots of outlets that have covered this. Then Vice News has a deep cover, a deep dive into the neo-Nazi movement of Ukraine and the ramifications thereof, and these camps and all of this stuff. So anybody like Marco Rubio, who then is like, oh, we have to do something about Russia right away, you have to be, either the guy doesn't have a very good internet connection, or his staff is rather daft, or it's basically that Rubio is proving that there is, once again, like, they want to cash in on a war, and this one's against Russia. And that he's one of the various people that he's got to go because he wants to cash in on hostilities against a foreign country, and all of which are hostilities we set up, like when we set things up for ISIS and the Arab Spring. So I just wanted to recapitulate, kind of go back over all of that stuff again in my head and get it down, because I was like thinking about it. I'm like, no. Like, there have been new events that have occurred. I mean, like, you know, George Soros said that that he and the Open Society Foundation were critical to the Maidan success and all that kind of business. So this really is an issue of like, no. This all has been set up by a club of very elite people, and it's just simply that because they hide behind the rainbow flag, and now and then some Democratic Party approved issues, they say nice things on Twitter rather than mean things, that there's something really good about them drumming up what might be thermonuclear fucking warfare between the two largest superpowers for no good goddamn reason. All right, later.